In this case of compound interest calculation, we will look at an example in which we are giving two different options to a user and asking to select what is the least cost option. And of course, the least cost means the one that cost the lower amount of interest, right? So the scenario is Bobby borrows $5,000 from a bank for a period of 3 years. Out of the two options, which one should Bobby select? Option 1 is interest is compounded every 6 months, but the annual rate of interest is 10%. And the second is interest is compounded quarterly, but the annual rate of interest is 8%. Okay, so let us look at the option number 1. The option 1 is the rate of interest is 10% annual rate, right? And then there is a loan duration of 3 years. So I'll just use the word N here because that is what I'm looking for eventually, right? So the loan duration is 3 years and the rate of interest is 10%. But since we are talking about compounding and we have been told that option 1 is about interest is compounded every 6 months, right? That means this rate of interest, which is annual rate, it has to be divided into two parts. Why? Because if you compound interest every 6 months, that means you will compound it 2 times per year, right? So that is why you divide this annual rate with 2 at the bottom, right? And since I'm dividing this with 2, this 2 goes in the multiplier of to calculate the number of compounding periods, right? Which becomes 2 times 3, the total loan duration. 3 is the number of years, okay? So now we have everything that we need for our interest calculation. We also have the principal sum that is borrowed, which is $5,000. So the total amount paid back after a period of 3 years using this compounding formula is 1 plus r over 100 to the power n. And this is in multiplication of p. The p is the principal sum, right? So let's substitute what we know. It will be $5,000 times 1 plus r becomes 5 divided by 100. I'm talking about this r here because it's 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay. And n, the number of interest periods, will be 6. 3 times 2, right? So it will go right here. So as you simplify this whole thing, this comes out to be $6,700. Now this is the amount paid back, right? It is the amount paid back. We are supposed to calculate the compound interest. And the compound interest will be the total amount paid back minus the principal sum. Fair enough, right? And that will be 6,700 minus 5,000. And this comes out to be $1,700. Okay, so that is for option 1. Now let us calculate the same thing for option 2. So in option 2, our rate of interest is 8% per year and the total loan duration is 3 years because 3 years don't change, right? But what we are doing is, since we are compounding quarterly, we have to divide this rate of interest with 4 because there are 4 quarters in 1 year, right? So we have to convert our annual rate of interest to the quarterly rate of interest, okay? In that case, you simply divide the annual rate with the 4, which is the number of quarters in a year, right? And since we are dividing the rate of interest with 4, we have to multiply the total number of years with 4 to be able to get what is known as the total number of compounding periods, the n, right? Now, once again, we have everything we needed. So the amount paid back is, using the same formula, is p times 1 plus r over 100 to the power n, right? And this is 5,000 times 1 plus r becomes 8% divided by 4, which is 2 divided by 100, and n becomes 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, so as you simplify this whole thing, it becomes $6,341. Okay, now this is the total amount paid back, and just like what we calculated previously, the compound interest in option 2, it is 2 here, in option 2 is equal to the total amount paid back minus the principal sum borrowed, which is 6,341 minus 5,000, and that is equal to $1,341. So now we have our both results with both options. Option 1 right here, it has a compound interest of $1,700. Option 2, our compound interest is 1,341. So which one is lower amongst these two? Of course, it is the option 2 that cost us less. So we will say that Bobby should take the option 2 of compounding quarterly but at the rate of 8% per year, and this will cost only $1,341. Okay, so that is how you calculate. But the key point is when you are calculating the compounding, you need to modify your parameters, modify them according to the compounding terms. In the option 1, we were compounding biannually, hence we divided the annual rate with 2 and used the same factor to multiply with the number of years to calculate your total number of compounding periods, right? And the same thing we did for option 2 when we were compounding quarterly. So we divided the annual rate with 4, which is the number of quarters in 1 year, and use the same factor to multiply with the time period to obtain the number of compounding periods. Okay, so this is the key point. Once you solve this one, rest is just application of these things to the formula and calculating the numbers.